2017-2018 class number 39. Okay, and so just a couple quick announcements. Number one is tomorrow night, Tuesday night, we'll be starting the brand new Breakneck through the Bible 2018-2019 at 7:30. That's from the beginning. So if you have anyone who you think should be there, make sure that you tell them to come.
Here?
Yeah, here at 7:30. And if you have to bring them, so bring them. Okay, we'd love to see you for 2 nights in a row. And it's good. And as I told Peter and Kenny this morning, is that you have to keep on coming till you could say it over. That's when you know it. But till then, so tomorrow night again we're starting over. Again, 2000. We'll start from the Breakneck from the beginning. But right now we're just going to continue keeping on rolling. We are in chapter 11, Genesis chapter 11, page 49 in the Stone Chumash. I hope you all had a wonderful holidays, Yantif. And everyone could go back to work now. and so it's a little sad. This month tonight is Rosh Chodesh, right? Right. The Cheshvan actually, Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan actually has a little nickname called Mar Cheshvan. Right? You know what Mar Cheshvan means? Mar means bitter Cheshvan. Cheshvan, because it's the only Jewish month that doesn't have a holiday. So that's why it's kind of a little bittersweet month, and it's a bittersweet month. But otherwise, you're going to do just fine. But hopefully, we'll learn enough Torah, so we'll be able to get into the sync of learning Torah. So that should be nice. Okay, so you have Simchas Torah. You're dancing with the Torah. Hopefully, this year was better than it was in previous years, as now you finally appreciate what Torah. You've learned Torah, right? Or you've engaged it really in a real way. So hopefully that you appreciated dancing with it more than not. Okay, so we're up to chapter 11, verse 1. So, kind of last time we had class, and it's been a while, because I think Monday nights have been holidays almost every Monday night for the last 6 weeks. So we are the story of Noach coming out of the ark, planting a vineyard, right, and getting intoxicated. Then Ham, his son, Chum, right, going ahead and either castrating him, right, just making him that he couldn't have any more children, right? And so then that way he goes ahead and he want to share the world, and then Noach goes ahead and gives a curse, or gives a world order what it's going to be. Yaftal Kim Yefes, that God has given beauty to Yefes, that God has given beauty to the right, the Greek. It's really technically Greek, but it means art, science. But V'yishkam Ba'olei Shem has to be subservient to Shem, which is religion. Right? As long as it's subservient to religion, so then at that point in time, right, since it's being subservient to religion, so then right, then V'kanan Evalamo, then Chum, right, technology will remain subservient to them. But if what happens is that that beauty thinks it's more important than religion, so then at that point in time, then Chum, then technology gets unleashed on the world, and then at that point in time, right, it brings destruction to the world. Right? But as long as and that's the world order that Noach goes in and gives a blessing to all his children.
Too much technology.
Well, again, technology is not good or bad. Technology is parv, right? It depends what you do with technology that makes it good or bad.
If it's abused.
Right. Or means, again, you could use fire to operate on people and heal people, right? You could use fire to kill people, right? So it could go both ways. It's in the hand of who's doing it and what they're trying to do, right? So that's really what it boils down to. Okay, so chapter 11, verse 1. Now we come to the famous story, the Tower of Babel. Who here has heard of the story of the Tower of Babel? Raise your hand. You've heard of the Tower of Babel?
Not sure.
You should have. Okay, it's very fascinating. It's a total of 9 verses. Right? The whole story is said in the Torah. Yet there is a long, long story about the Tower of Babel. So chapter 11, verse number 1. Mark, do you want to read?
The whole earth was of one language and of common purpose. And it came to pass, when they immigrated from the east, they found a valley in the land of Shinar and settled there.
Okay, they found a valley in the land of Shinar, which is today modern day.
Syria.
No.
Iran?
Tower of Babel, right? Babylonia. Babylonia, which is Iraq. Iraq. Persia is Iran. Babylonia is Iraq. Okay?
Which one is it? Babylon?
Babylonia is Iraq.
Which page is it? I'm sorry.
Is
49.
49, thank you. How are you?
That's why you call it Babylonia.
Is there a
It's the Tower of
Babylonia and Babylon? Is there?
Babylonia might be the country. Babylon might be the city.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, but right, so anyways, good. So they went to they found a valley in the land of Shinar and settled there. Go ahead.
And they said to one another, Come, let us make bricks and burn them in fire. And the bricks served them as stone, and the bitumen served them as mortar. And they said, Come, let us build us a city and a tower with the top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed across the whole earth. Hashem descended to look at the city and tower which the sons of man built. And Hashem said, Behold, they are one people with one language for all. And this they begin to do. And now should it not be withheld from them all that they propose to do? Come, let us descend there and confuse the language, that they should not understand one another's language. And Hashem dispersed them from there over the face of the whole earth, and they stopped building the city. This is why it is called Babel, because it was there that Hashem confused the language of the whole earth, and from there Hashem scattered them over the face of the whole earth.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so tell me in your own words what happens over here.
They want to elevate themselves to God by building up to the heavens.
And what are they going to do when they get to heavens?
I didn't read that far.
Okay, well you got all the information.
Okay. They want to be equal to God.
And so it's very interesting. You want to hear fascinating Zohar, by the way?
Yes.
You know what the Zohar says? They were going to build a tower. Anyone know when the Zohar was written, by the way?
When?
When it was written,
When was it written down?
1490 something.
No.
1490.
That's the Spanish Inquisition of 1492. Okay.
Well,
But good luck.
In the time of Shimon Bar Yochai, which is the time of the Romans.
Okay, so what year is that? The Romans were long gone by 1492, by the way.
100.
100 of the Common Era. I guess we're 1900 years ago.
So I made a good guess.
Right, it's 1950 years ago. Right, it wasn't bad. Right, it wasn't bad. You're only off by 1400 years. It's pretty good. Close.
It's within the margin of error.
Yeah, no. He's doing well.
I think in 1490 something happened and they found a copy of the Zohar.
Oh,
And it had
maybe.
been lost
Okay.
for all those years.
Uh-huh. So the Zohar was written in the year 100, roughly, plus or minus. And in the Zohar it says that when they would get to the top of the mountain, they then would jump from the top of the mountain and be able to float up and to fight God.
And to fight God?
Right.
Open the mountain on top
Nimrod
of the
wasn't-
tower.
On top of the tower.
Nimrod wasn't a nice
Why
guy.
are
He
people
just
so
didn't like
mischievous?
anybody.
That's crazy. This is crazy.
Crazy stuff. Why were they Meshuggah? Why were they doing this?
I have no idea. It's Meshuggah.
Well, I have many questions.
So do I. You came to the right
The
place.
first one.
Yeah.
Why does Torah jumps from one story to a completely different story?
Excellent.
Because it's not a history
Second
book.
question.
Yeah.
No, why is it in Noah? You're right.
What second
Oh, I
question?
didn't know.
Because it's episodic.
Second question is that why? In what mind do they really think that they can make a tower that can go into the heaven? And is that actually possible to make it thing to go to the heaven? The second.
They didn't know anything.
Nowadays we're doing that.
rockets.
We're making spaceships to get up.
That doesn't go to the heavens.
But they want to get to the heaven, sure.
No, it just goes into space. That's not
Right.
where heaven is.
Where's heaven?
These are all yours.
Where's heaven?
These are yours.
It's past the Earth's atmosphere.
It's past the Earth, right? So you should know there are 7 different levels of heaven. Okay, there's 7 different levels of
What do
heaven.
they mean by the seventh heaven?
That's what it means, the 7th heaven, right? But there's 7 heavens.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's 7 different levels of heaven, right? That's why in Hebrew there are different names for heaven.
Right.
There's Shamayim, there's Rakia, right? There are different words for heaven, right? Because right there are 7 levels of heaven, and actually is straight up, and so you can reach heaven going up.
It's straight up, but it doesn't mean it's within your grasp. You could go straight up for 1,000,000 miles. It doesn't mean you're at heaven yet.
Oh, very
So
good.
there is not just one heaven, there is different levels.
The different level of heavens, yeah.
So the higher the level, the more is heaven?
The closer to God you get,
Closer, I see. Okay, so
right? The closer to
it's
God
still,
you get.
it's still a heaven if it's in the first level, but it's
Right.
not as close. It's not
We
as close.
we colloquially call all the 7 heaven. We just call it heaven, because normally we just mean not down here on earth, but up. Right. That's why we refer to it as heaven.
Also,
Yeah.
they were trying to get into heaven. That means that they believe in some form of God,
Right. Sure.
so that they want to actually go and fight it.
Absolutely.
So they had a belief. It's not like they
Right. Not belief. They knew there was a God.
And the people who were building
Yeah.
this tower, how they were treating each other.
Ah.
See, but here's where the big mistake was. They thought that there was a place where God lived. Right?
Right.
That was the mistake. God
Why is that?
doesn't live in a place. He lives in a different kind of world.
When we say God, that is in heaven, right? We use that phrase.
God is in heaven, but
Right.
And they also, I think, they wanted to get to heaven so that they could prevent another flood.
Okay,
Because
good.
they still had a memory.
Okay,
of the
good. So hold on. Okay, go ahead. Good. Now you're getting.
But what I was going to say was the flood was, what, roughly 350 years before?
Yeah, 340
So-
years before.
So they had about 1,300 more years. They figured it's cyclic. So we got a lot of time. We're not going to be flooded, so we're fine.
Right. So that's very interesting. Okay. So it goes like this. So let me,
They didn't trust God. He made a promise he wouldn't do that again.
No, don't worry.
yeah. So let me explain it. So first, let's deal with Michael's question first, because Michael's question first is kind of let's say is a basic question, right? And that is Michael's question is, why does the Torah jump around? So again, as we said many a times, the Torah is not a history book. The Torah doesn't care about the history, unless it's going to teach me a new moral or ethical lesson.
So what is the lesson in this? Like I'm not supposed to fight God?
Okay, we got lots of lessons here.
Yeah.
So the more we're going to begin pulling this apart to understand this story. But that's a very good
This is a
lesson,
fun story.
right? Lesson number 1 is don't fight God; He's stronger than you.
Yeah.
Okay, right? That's lesson number 1. If you're going to fight God, you're going to lose, right? Understand, right? That's lesson number 1. Okay, but let's first understand what's going. First, let's understand the story, actually, what took place, and then we could begin to analyze it a little more. Okay, so what happened was the people, the entire world had united. Okay, it was being ruled by a guy named Nimrod. Right, Nimrod. Right? Do you want to hear something interesting about Nimrod?
Yes.
Yeah.
Self-appointed
Who?
king.
Self-appointed king, but he ruled the world, right? But do you know Nimrod? Do you know Nimrod? Nimrod was the ruler of the world. Who was Nimrod a descendant of?
Japheth, right? Ham?
Anyone know who Nimrod was a descendant of? I'll give you a hint. If you turn to page, 47, has a little chart there where you could actually go ahead and you get you get a little thing there,
So
right?
he was a descendant of Ham.
He was a descendant of Ham,
Through Cush.
right, or Cush, right? So his father was Cush, right?
Yeah, here he is,
Um,
number 26.
Right? Yeah. Right. So he's number 26. Right. Nation number 26. Right. Descendant from Ham, descendant from Cush, which means that Nimrod was a black man. Right. Nimrod was the first.
That's what we stopped last time.
No, we stopped.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So Nimrod ruled the world. He was the first ruler of the entire world.
My uncle.
I don't know if you want to be proud of him. Right? Right? Because Nimrod was the one man who went ahead to fight the world, right? To rebel against God. Right? Again, it's very interesting. Do you know what the name Nimrod means?
No.
Mared, to rebel. Right? The root of the word Nimrod is Mared, is to rebel. Right? Is that right? He was going ahead. He was rebelling. He took the world to rebel against God. Right? That's what. Right? So Nimrod was not a good guy. Nimrod is one of the.
Obviously, Frankie's a descendant.
Right. I didn't say Frankie. You laid claim to him. I didn't. I was okay. But the good news is you can change. You don't have to keep that.
I didn't get it from him.
Right, but Nimrod.
He was the original Darth Vader.
Well, he was right. He went ahead and he went to rebel against God. So the question is, why did he want to build a tower? So I told you the Zohar, which is quite interesting, right? Because they wanted to climb up to the top of the mountain, and from the top of the mountain, then they wanted to float up.
Top of the mountain?
Yeah, top of the tower.
Tower.
Top of the tower, and from there they were going to float up. But why were they building a tower? So what they said was as follows: God has brought a flood onto the world. Now, how many floods have come to the world so far? Two. Right? 2 floods have come to the world.
The big one was the second?
The big one was the second.
And the first one
The first one only flooded a third of the world. So that was a localized flood.
But it's a third of the world
Still pretty incredible.
How long apart they were?
How long apart was it? Okay, so the flood, the third flood was in the generation of man, right? Dor Enosh, right?
The third flood?
The first flood.
The first flood.
That was a third of the world. Roughly 1,000 years later was the second flood, right? And that flooded the entire world.
So the first was a warning, which didn't work well?
Right. First was a warning that seemed to wear off.
Behave yourself or else.
Right. Well, that's what happens when you misbehave. Then the world continued misbehaving. They got flooded. And now these people said we're going to be smarter than God. What we're going to do is that every time it floods, the heavens tilt, right? And the water comes gushing down from the heavens. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a support for the world, for the heavens. So we're going to build this tower, and it's going to hold up the heavens so it won't tilt and let down water anymore.
See, it pays to study physics.
Right? So that's...
Yeah, but they didn't understand the fulcrum because it would tilt it.
Yeah, no. So what they didn't understand was that God runs this world. Right? And that it's not worth it to fight God. Right? Fighting God is a losing proposition. Right? No, that's right. That's
What percent of us don't fight God?
Isn't that amazing?
When I don't follow the mitzvahs, I'm fighting God.
Yes. Yeah. And you should know, by the way, you should know it's so funny because each in our own way, right? We go ahead and we know we're going to lose, and yet we
Yes.
insist on fighting God. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the most amazing things I find. Like people say, "Oh, I'm so angry at God." I said, "Really?" I said, "Explain that to me." He says, "Well, God keeps on doing X." I said, "You don't like the message you're getting?" I said, and so instead of taking responsibility for your actions, you're just going ahead and you are, kind of like, projecting onto God that God's the problem here. If you're angry with God, guess who's wrong? And I said, by the way, have you ever won? I said, so, the definition of insanity.
Yes.
Right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Right? So then at that point in time, Rabbi Greenblatt, I'd like everyone please stand up and want to introduce you. Rabbi Greenblatt. Let me just introduce him. This is Rabbi Greenblatt from Memphis. He's one of the great sages of our generation.
I can't hear you because anything you want.
I was only saying half the praise in front of you.
But nobody a word is here.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming. I get that up. Okay. Okay. So Rabbi Greenblatt is he's only 93 years old. And so he comes. He's 93 years old. He actually writes, and anytime a get is needed, before he flies him from Memphis to write it for Dallas. He's been doing this for like 60 or 70 years.
Yeah, he did my amazing.
Yeah, amazing. He knows entire Torah. He's a amazing man. Okay. So what happened? Okay, let's go back to this. So anytime you fight God, it's a losing proposition. Okay, because you will not win, right? And you have never won, right? And so therefore, I kind of find it ironic that people keep on fighting because they think that, well, maybe this time. I like it's so funny. Psychologists spends up a field day with such a concept, right? And how people keep on kind of doing this stuff, right? And keep on banging their head against the wall, and so then they think that they are going to get to a place of where. That they're right and God is wrong. So anyway, but I do find that quite humorous.
In Texas, they say that dumber than a box of rocks.
Yeah.
So humanity is like that.
But anyway, what's amazing is that in our own way, kind of like we all kind of have that little piece of us, right? We're going to show God, right? We're going to do it our way. And it's amazing. It's amazing what happens. But anyway, so Nimrod goes ahead and Nimrod decides that he's going to go ahead and he's going to fight the world, right? And he's going to fight God. He's going to build this tower. He gets everyone together. They're going to go build this tower because the flood keeps on coming, right? And every 1656 years, right? And so now they're going to build it. So the next time it happens, either they'll have a tower so they can escape the flood, or they could hold up the heaven and that it won't.
So how long was this after Noah?
It's 340 years.
After 340 years later. Noach took place in 1656. This took place in 1996.
So these were all descendants of Noah.
All descendants of Noach. The whole world was descendants of Noach.
Yeah.
So they knew about the flood.
This is about the time of Abraham, right?
Actually, Abraham was 48 years old at this point in time.
Isn't this the guy that threw him into the furnace?
Yes.
Yeah.
That Nimrod.
That Nimrod, right? The Nimrod who goes out and who threw Abraham into the furnace, right? Which we haven't got to. That'll be chapter 12. Okay, but that's this guy who went to do this thing.
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
go back.
He was innovative.
So at this point, Noah is alive.
Noach is still sure. Noach's still alive.
Okay, so how could Noah let him? First of all, he was the first black man that became the ruler of the world.
No, he was the first ruler of the world. He happened to be black.
He happens to be a black.
What?
He happens to be a black.
Yeah.
Because he came
Okay,
from Cush.
He came from Cush.
the Kush is what?
Kush means
Black
Cush is black.
in Hebrew.
Kush means black in Hebrew.
So one of the Ham,
Ham had a son, Cush.
Kush, black.
He was black. Ham was white. He had a black son, Ham.
There were Jewish people there.
No, there wasn't Jews yet. There's no Jews yet.
Okay, no Jewish.
No Jews yet. You have the
You don't
world.
really know that because you don't see who his wife was. I mean,
Whose
you see
wife?
Cush. He's the son of Cush.
He's the son. Kush is the son of Ham. Ham.
You don't know that-
Ham. What happened was Ham, when he was on the ark, had relations with his wife.
He wasn't supposed
He
to.
wasn't supposed to,
Right.
and so that was his punishment. Right, and so Kush was born. Okay.
He was born on the ark.
No, whatever. Kush is the son Kush, which was black. Okay.
Okay, so
But you don't know who the wife was. The wife could have been white.
No. Of course, the whole world was white.
he was the only black man,
Yeah,
and he became the ruler. Basically.
and Nimrod came the ruler of the world.
Okay, now.
He installed
So he had the whole world.
Well, installed himself. He captured the world. He conquered the world
He had the whole world. So
Yes.
what's the point of going fighting God?
because he wasn't
How much more does he want?
The world is not enough.
the world. No, not only the world's not enough. God could flood the world any moment and he'll be dead.
Yeah,
He'd
but
be
God
dead.
said he wouldn't flood it.
He'd be dead.
God said he'd never do it again.
Never flood the entire world. Correct.
then
But he didn't want to. He didn't want to leave it in God's hands.
So he didn't want to take any chances.
He didn't want to take any chances.
So he decided that he would become God.
We'll see what it
Then
means on there.
Then he would be able to fight God.
Right. So he wanted to fight. He built the tower to fight God.
Okay, so the other
This was an
question-
act of rebellion against God.
So the other question is that how big of a tower can he build that he can put the entire world, entire people of the world in one tower?
Okay,
Yeah,
it must have been
the
a big tower. That's why they were building a tower was to hold up the heaven, right? So that the rain wouldn't come down, the water wouldn't come down.
What happened to this tower?
What happened was God comes and God sees what's going on, and God says,
No thanks.
"Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work." And so,
How high did they go?
that's a good question. I don't know. You see what happened was it's very interesting. Is that you see how did we know that there was ill intent with this tower? Right? If you read the text, right?
Because of all the languages.
What?
It says goes all the way to the sky, something like that.
Yeah, let's
Touching
make
the sky, something like that.
a tower on the top and let us make a name for ourselves. Show me how we know that there's an issue with what he was trying to do.
Does it
It
have to
says
do with the
because it says,
bitumen?
and a tower with its top in the heavens.
Okay, so they wanted 49. They want to make this huge tall tower.
What's wrong with it? They wanted a spaceship.
Right. What's wrong? Exactly.
But
So how do we know there's something wrong? There's something you have to read this and you'll
And
see.
let us make a name for ourselves.
Okay, let's make a name for ourselves. So that could be, right? We're looking.
Good or bad?
That could be good. Well, it's right. It's ego. Like kind of let us go up there and let us be. Let us be the sort of. Let us go up there and be the. The names that the whole world should know us by. By the way, just FYI, this is this week's Torah portion.
Yeah.
Parshat Noach is one the same Torah portion as they are, right? So then you go ahead and so then you have, right? So how do we know that the tower was built for ill intent?
You don't really. I don't see it. It's
I'm
like
about to
we
enlighten
want-
your eyes.
It's like we want to go to the moon.
And right, I want to go to the moon, right? It's not necessarily a bad thing,
No,
right?
because we want to go to the moon to go
Right, why is that a bad
to
thing?
learn things.
Right?
But they weren't building it to learn something. They were doing it for. It looks like.
For rebellion?
How do you know?
I don't see it in the text.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If you wanted to build a tower that would reach the heavens, where would you start building the tower?
Someplace
On the
high.
highest mountain
On the highest
around.
mountain around, and start from there, right?
Yeah.
Where did he
How do you
start?
get the bricks up?
Where did he start building it from?
The valley.
Oh,
They said, let's go down.
the Talmud says, hold on a minute. Why is he building? If he's building a tower to get to the heavens, why is he building it in a valley?
Instead of the hill.
You hear the problem? So
Bad
therefore, he
logic.
said, what?
He had a bad.
Right, except they're smart enough to build this huge tower, right? But they couldn't figure out to start higher up,
So why?
right? It's a problem, right?
Okay, why would they do that?
Now, why would you do such a thing, right? So what's the answer?
They want to stick their finger in God's eye.
The answer is they went to the valley. They went to
The moral
the
valley.
the Hebrew word is amek,
Ah.
right? Amkut means depth. Means they went with a specific philosophy that they wanted to build a tower with. It doesn't mean they went to the valley to build it. It means they got together with a specific idea or story behind it.
So
With a
was
low
that
down
place
purpose.
Was it where their minds were, a place of their mind was a low point?
Right.
Ah.
Ah.
And so what is that? So the answer was, and so they're going right to the top of the heaven, lest we be dispersed, right? We're going to make it that God can't go ahead and chase us out around the earth.
So when we built the Sears Tower in Chicago,
Yeah.
I was the one of the builders. we use a similar design to Tower of Babel. You know that?
Oh yeah.
Rabbi.
Big things on the bottom, little things on the top. But we're trying to reach the heavens. We're trying to be the tallest building in the world.
Right.
Is it the
Really, that's what
analogy
we-
of the modern world with what we are discussing as far as how they build these skyscrapers higher and taller these days? I mean,
No, so it's interesting. I'll tell you interesting. This was even worse than that. Someone to build the tallest tower. I said, look, look, it's all about me. So that's ego. Okay,
It's all about Sears. They want that
that's not healthy.
We want to have tall
Right?
buildings.
That's not healthy.
Look what happened to them.
so what if they use the modern
But
technology
what are they
to
doing
build-
this for? What they're doing this for over here is that here they were fighting with an even worse purpose. And what was that? That was to go ahead and to fight God. Right? And so to go ahead and to fight God, right? That's the place where it's even worse.
But you don't get that out of reading this. You
You need
source information.
yeah, sure. You need the oral law. That's why you pay me the big bucks.
So that's let's say they will build a 200-story building.
Right.
So what is it for?
Nothing.
Why they are doing that?
Whatever they want, that's fine. It's not an issue.
But this is-
Yeah.
this is
Because they
just
started in the low
Information
valley.
from
Is that-
French archive was.
Yeah.
They say Nimrod, the biblical figure, he was a biblical figure, comme un roi, as a king sur la terre de Shinar, in the land of Shinar.
Shinar, right?
Il était selon le. Non, il était the book of Chronicle. According to the book of Chronicle, he was a son of Cush, therefore a great grandson of Noah. The Bible stated that he was a mighty hunter before the Lord,
Right.
and began to be mighty in the earth.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, before the Lord. He was mighty before the Lord.
What is it? No.
Okay, yeah, I just...
That's what happens when you go to the French website instead of the Jewish one. Let me help you out, right? So he was a gibor, right? He was a right? What's the Hebrew word is that he was a gibor tzayid, right? 1 second. Now okay.
Gibor, I typed Gibor.
Right. That's what it. Right, and so there, right, it's right. So Rashi says Gibor Tzayid, right, was that's not a good thing, right? So it's a hunter with somebody who is going to go ahead to try to turn people away from God.
But
Okay,
they say
here was right in chapter 10,
right?
Actually, chapter 10, verse 8 and 9, right? Cush gave birth to Nimrod. He was a gibor, right? A gibor, and it's interesting. As Rashi says, what does it mean? He was a gibor. Rashi says to get the whole world to rebel against God.
Let's see.
That's what it means. He was a strong man. A strong man means, right, to take the world to rebel against, right? And it says, then what does it mean? He was a trapper. Listen to Rashi says. He was a trapper because he was cunning in the way that he would convince, convince people with his mouth to rebel against God. Okay?
Oh, he did have God outnumbered.
Right?
What's
There are more answers than you.
verse is there?
What verse? That's chapter. I told you, chapter 10, verse 8 and 9.
Huh?
Chapter 10, verse 8 and 9.
It's right on the page. It's
Right on the top over there. And then I was just reading your Rashi, right? Which is quoted in
Oh,
the
that's a
Talmud.
Rashi comment.
Yeah, it's from the Talmud.
It's not accurate.
It's what?
It's not accurate.
Well, who's not?
That's a Rashi comment.
Yeah, for the Talmud.
That's what he thinks.
That's what the Talmud says.
Oh. The oral law.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna dig again. All right.
You know, you can come to class for a week and you forget everything.
How about don't give him chicken?
And now I understand that you said you're related to Nimrod.
You're a good way. You know,
This,
We're going to see what happens to Nimrod. Stay
Okay.
tuned, okay?
I just wanted to say about
He
the
gets
modern-
kicked out,
about the modern technology and
Yeah.
engineering, that they are able to build very tall buildings. And this is the analogy to what the Bible was trying to do. I mean, if they build 200-300-story building, what for? I mean, what would be the purpose of it?
No.
That's the
Right.
front,
So
Is it an abuse of the
no. So if
technology?
you're doing it to go ahead and to get more people, have more people be able to live there, right? So those
200-story building, who want to live on the 150-year story, have an apartment?
it's a nice view.
And what's
I should.
the-
You're speaking to the wrong guy. I am scared of heights, so I don't want to be up there. I'm quite happy to be on terra firma. Yeah.
You know what is so
Wait, what's it? Yeah.
So here it says in Art Scroll,
Yeah.
it says that they shouldn't have had fear from the remembering the flood, but their science told them that the flood would come every
1,656 years, right?
So this is an example of how science, trying to fit Torah to science, you get the wrong answer.
Right. And what should they have been doing?
They should have been praying to God that they should not have another flood.
Forget about praying to God. If they would just act like normal human beings, there wouldn't be a flood.
Yeah, no,
They were acting like no.
Oh, right. Thank you. Okay, right. They should have been acting like good Torah beings, and then they wouldn't have to worry about that. That's
so
correct.
Science was completely wrong. All they had to do was conclude that if you behave normally, you won't have a flood.
Right?
You know, what is so interesting about the story is that they knew there was different, they were heaven. They knew there was 7 layers of heaven.
Right.
And all they were trying to reach to the first one.
Mhm.
I guess they were trying to either fight it or to see what's going on.
No, they were trying
They
to
were trying
fight.
to explore
They
it.
were trying to fight God.
Yeah, this is so Michigan. Here was their reasoning.
I mean,
So that they had nothing to lose because the fear of divine intervention was not for another 1,316 years,
right.
by which time they would have waged their war against God and won.
Right, and so what they're trying to, it's amazing, because instead going ahead and making these paper monsters, right, to go to do these things, right, instead of worrying just being a righteous person, and God will take care of everything else.
Yeah.
And isn't it amazing? It's amazing what happens. So Nimrod goes ahead, right, and so he goes ahead and he creates this right? It creates his tower. Okay, so now they spoke one language. What's the one language they spoke? Hebrew, right? Lashon HaKodesh, right? The holy tongue, right? That's right. It's not modern day Hebrew. Right? It's the Hebrew, right? That the world was created with.
No,
Right?
different from the holy tongue.
That's the holy tongue, Lashon HaKodesh. The words from the Torah, right? That was what they spoke. And
Zohar says that each month was created by 2 Hebrew letters.
okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so then,
Is there any book from this old Torah, old Hebrew?
what?
Is there any old books or old script from the old Hebrew?
Sure.
Sure.
You want. Okay, when you say old script, what do you mean by that?
What we are reading is the new Hebrew language.
No, the Torah is the same language for the last 3,330 years.
So Nimrod spoke like this.
Nimrod spoke like this, yeah.
There was a scholar himself.
The whole world spoke. That was the language they
That was
spoke.
the only language they knew.
So how did he go so down?
Because God made them speak different languages.
No. How did they go
They
so
had-
down?
First of all, after Adam's story, they had everything they wanted. The guy wanted, he had the world, he spoke Hebrew, he had knowledge, he controlled the whole world, he
Right.
did whatever he was 100%
Right,
full,
sure,
up to neck.
right.
Yeah, you're right. It's
Yeah, but
a
it's-
conversion of spirituality.
Yeah, what's the
But
And they
it's-
point?
Right.
the opposite
How
way.
much more does a person want?
Well, that's the whole thing.
Well,
You got so much, you want
the
more.
answer is it's amazing,
You know,
right.
If you got 1, you want 2. And if you got 2, you want 2.
right? Ego, it's about it. So now let's go back and let's read now from chapter 11 from the top. Let's read it slowly. Okay, let's make sure that we get the whole story.
What is a blessing, Rabbi, when we hear thunder?
Which chapter?
In the middle of learning Torah, you don't stop.
Oh,
If you stop, you get killed.
Which chapter?
Chapter 11, verse 1.
Yeah, You hear that thunder? That means
No, but we're middle learning Torah. It says, you know what the Talmud, let me tell you something. Let me teach you something.
Yeah.
The Talmud says, if you're middle learning Torah and you see a nice tree, and you say, "Oh, what a beautiful tree," you forfeit your right to live.
Wow.
Repeat it again. If you would see.
Okay, it's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. It's not mine.
Pirkei Avos.
Now, what does it say? It says that if you go ahead and if you're middle learning Torah and you say, "Wow, how pretty that tree is," right? You go ahead and you become guilty
Defaming God.
of your life. You forfeit your right to live. Harezeh mischayev benafsha. Right? Learning Torah is what it's all about. Don't let anything else distract you. Yeah, that's the evil inclination trying to distract you again.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Right. Alrighty. Good. So let's go back to chapter 11, verse 1.
What page is this?
Page 49.
Okay.
Peter, you want to read?
Here. I cannot find it here.
You don't have a chumash. You have a different book.
49. That's not the Chumash.
The chumash right there.
You've got,
Alrighty. Okay, Peter, why don't you read?
Chapter 11:1.
Yeah, but then we're going to stop you at each verse. Go ahead.
The whole earth was one of language and of common purpose.
Okay, right? So again, the one language, and they were united. Right?
Which
Okay.
is a nice thing.
The nice thing, lovely. Right, go ahead.
And it came to pass, when they migrated from the east, they found a valley in the land of Shinar and settled there.
Right, okay, right. So go ahead, they settled in the valley. Right? Okay, good.
So there was a valley.
Right, there was a valley, right? They go to the valley, and that's where they settle. Right, that's where they go ahead, and they they wanted all to live together in peace, so they went ahead and they lived in this valley. Go ahead.
They said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them in fire." And the bricks served them as stone, and the bitumen served them as mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build us a city, and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed across the whole earth."
Now, so what are they afraid of? Being dispersed, right? Being split up, right? Now, okay. So now, okay. There's so much to talk about. Okay. So number one, okay. Why is right? So the building the tower to go ahead and to fight God, right? That's what they're trying to do. And to go ahead, they're going to go fight God. So now, what's amazing, okay, is in Parshas Noach, right? We have starts off with the whole world being corrupt and God flooding them.
Yeah.
We come now to the end of Parshas Noach, and what happens at the end of Parshas Noach?
starting over.
And they're starting over again, and this time now they're going to build a tower and they're going to fight God.
But they're not saying that at this point in time. They're moving into this valley. They're going to build a city with a very tall tower to the heavens.
Remember why they're starting in the valley?
Well,
Again, so that means that they were going there for that purpose, right? To go ahead to fight God, right? They're getting together to go ahead and to fight God, right? So we know that's what we're doing. So this is all bad. Yes.
So there's another thing that they were probably thinking, because they wanted to stay united, they didn't want to be dispersed.
Right.
So why not have a big project to keep us all together, keep us united?
Right. And I do want to point out something quite interesting. How is God's name mentioned over here?
Hashem.
Hashem. It's all Hashem, which is God of mercy. Right? By Noach, it's all Elohim, God of justice.
Justice, yeah.
Right? Okay, right. So it's just I'm just pointing that out. Just an interesting. There's an.
He's giving up a little bit here.
No. It's coming here out of mercy.
I see.
So we're gonna have to figure out what the difference is.
Why here out of mercy?
Again, what would be worse? The flood. Why did the flood come?
People were completely corrupt.
People were stealing from each other, right? Why did Tower of Babel? What were they trying to do?
Keep together.
Fight God.
Fight God together.
So let me ask you a question: what's worse, fighting God or stealing from your fellow man?
I would think fighting God.
I would think fighting God. Yet the punishments seem to be reversed.
Yeah, that's weird.
This punishment from stealing was they all got killed, and yet the punishment here was dispersion. You would think that it should be reversed.
Yeah.
So why is it not reversed?
God is
Because
very
the sins
forgiving.
between man to Hashem, Hashem forgives, but between man to man, Hashem does not forgive.
Sure it does.
No, Hashem, the person has to
But then God will forgive you.
חטאים שבין אדם למקום.
Right? You have to first go right. You first have to go to man to man.
בין אדם למקום, אין המקום מחטא.
So
Right? So the question is, so why over here?
He's still God of mercy.
He still got a mercy, sure.
because he can
Building
forgive
the
them.
tower, building the tower in and of itself wasn't a sin.
Well, to read the purpose they built, it
The
was.
intent
But
was,
well, it was, but that was secondary to building it.
But it's not as
The
big
purpose
as-
of them building it was to fight God.
Yeah, but God,
But
God is
the
a
actual
big God.
building though wasn't sinful.
God is big and giving.
Right.
I mean, before they were stealing and raping and thieving and all kinds of.
Right,
bad stuff.
but they went ahead and they got killed, right? They went ahead and they got killed was because they were busy,
screwing each other.
you know, right, for each other, right?
Well,
Here they're rebelling against God.
Yeah, but God can forgive that. God's a big guy.
So why then would it be better? So
Because it
but then
promised.
but if you use that premise, then but you can go backwards and say he shouldn't have had floods to destroy the world, because if he's that forgiving, why
But you
why
can't,
not
you
forgive?
can't forgive us
You did
from
not
cheating and
destroy
stealing
the
and
world.
doing
But
bad
you-
things
but-
to each other.
No,
you
you
can
can't.
forgive things that are towards. Look, we stick God's head in the toilet
But-
bowl every day, and He
But,
doesn't destroy
but
the
the
world.
cheating and sinning were against God as well. It's not a direct. Okay, I'm coming to fight you, but it's still an affront.
Yeah,
So
but
it's the same
God
logic.
does-
Yeah, God doesn't need to come destroy the world. We're doing it for Him.
In modern times, we are.
Right.
Yeah.
So the question is why, and so the Talmud has an unbelievable insight. The Talmud says, because in the over here by the Tower of Babel, the Jewish people were united, and since the Jewish people were united, not Jewish people, the world was united, and even though it was a terrible sin and much worse, right? Much worse than stealing from each other. But since they were united, so God did not destroy them, and instead just dispersed them over the world. Because they had
Weren't they
unity.
United before the flood.
No, and now of course no, they were busy stealing from each other. The Talmud says that's why is that really over here this should have been worse. But since over here they went ahead and they were since over here they had gone ahead and they were busy. They had become united. So therefore, even though they deserved the worst punishment, God gave them a lighter sentence.
Is it about that time when the lifespan of the humans were shortened drastically?
No, the lifespan of the human beings already was shortened. Remember,
That's all.
1400 and 340 years before.
Before the Babel?
Yeah, sure. 'Cause at the flood, that happened before the flood.
Before the flood.
Before the flood.
Study Torah.
So before the Noah.
Right before Noah and the flood.
So after Noah, it's already was short.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's when it became. That's when.
As a punishment. So
Right. No, not a punishment. Again, God doesn't punish us like naughty, not
So
listening
why
to
it
me.
was shortened the span?
Why? Because by living too long,
They didn't do any good?
we didn't have the incentive to get our act together. Because we said, we'll do it the next century.
They didn't use the time right.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about it. I'm going to live another 800 years. You want me to be righteous? In 800 years, I'll be righteous.
They didn't do the
Mañana, right? Yeah. Mañana, right? It's always tomorrow.
They should have done a lot more, right?
So what happens? God said, okay, so if you're using time, I'll sure. I mean, even today, I'll tell you something. Kind of like I think about this all the time. It's a little bit scary. Is that we've been living longer and longer, and yet we've been producing less and less. Right now we're busy because what are we doing? Now we're busy worrying about making enough money so we can retire, so we could travel, Right? We could do all the other things that aren't so important.
Oh,
Right?
so important for us, to us, or the
So
things
first
that so important to us,
Yeah.
as
As a society.
important to God, right?
Right?
So they gave
What was
him
it?
this opportunity to have so many years to live,
Right.
hundreds and hundreds of years.
We were
and they didn't use the opportunity to create something good in
Correct.
these years.
correct.
That's why it was taken away from them.
Right.
But to say, if next year I retire,
hmm
that doesn't mean I'm not doing anything important. But you say, I'm not producing, if I retire, I'm not producing.
No. What I said is that what I meant to say is that in our society, right, retirement, like we're going to travel in retirement, right, we have all these dreams of things that we're going to do when we retire, right? Right? Instead of saying, if I retire from having to work, then I'm going to go do what things am I going to do that are going to be godly.
Okay.
Right? You know what I'm saying, right?
Okay.
Do we say I want to retire so I could sit and study Torah all day?
Actually,
Right? I haven't heard that too often.
Right.
Right. I don't see any of those ads. Right? Come so you can become a more godly person. Right? And so what happens is you take a look and it becomes, right? And yet we have all this time. Right? We have all this time now. Right? Remember when they started Social Security at age 65?
The average life
Lifetime was 67.
No, the average
No?
life expectancy was 53.
Oh yeah.
So if you retire 12 years after you're dead.
Right. Okay. Good. Even better.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Right. So,
Democrats.
right. That's right. Right. So that's what happens. Right. Is that we go ahead and we have all these things. Right. And so then at that point in time, now you turn around and now you say, okay, what's going to happen? Right. Meaning what happened was that's why God shortened the time, because we're using the time not for good pursuits, we're using the time for
Self-gratification, selfish.
right.
Selfish.
Right. So time. Remember, time is our biggest.
Full time, you're doing okay.
Time is our biggest asset.
Right. Yeah.
And make sure that we use it wisely. If we don't use it wisely, we're in big trouble.
Yeah. It's finite. Tough time.
What?
It's finite.
It's finite. It is finite. And it's even finite for a different reason. Because what people don't understand is that the second you have now, you'll never get it back.
Exactly.
Right? You'll never get it back.
It's gone.
It's gone. You might get another second. Maybe yeah, maybe no. But this second you'll never get back.
Yeah.
And if you never get it back, right?
Precious.
Right? You have to understand how precious that is.
Yesterday is gone, today is today, and tomorrow is a mystery.
Yeah. But every second we have, right? We can either go ahead. It's not a question of guilt. We just have to appreciate every second and recognize that we have the ability to turn it into infinity, or we have the ability to kill it.
There's a reason why now is called a present.
Right?
It is a present.
It is a present. In fact, I'll tell you something interesting. Right? You ever heard of the idea of killing time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do a lot of that.
Yeah. Okay. So in Judaism, we don't have the expression killing time. In Judaism, you're murdering time.
Yeah.
Right? Because this second that you'll have, you'll never get back.
Exactly.
Right? And it's getting every second that we have. Right? What we have to use it for. Right? We have to go to make sure that we use it for its proper thing.
So the only redeeming quality from God's point of view was that these people were united. Otherwise, he would have wiped them out.
Okay. Yeah. That is correct, sir.
It's an interesting thing. I got to internalize that.
So you have to understand how great peace is. Right? Right? Is that when we're peaceful and harmony, gets us a lot of points with God. And the truth is, I point out that we're exactly the same way. You ever come home as a parent and your kids have destroyed the house?
Yeah.
Not to me, of course. I'm talking about like other people.
Yeah,
I've heard
that
that.
happen.
Right? I've heard of it happening. And they come in and you're ready to just chop their heads off. Right? Then change the story. Right? Because when you come in, they're fighting with each other. Right? Let's say you come in and all the kids are doing it together. Like teamwork.
You think they're plotting.
Right. But they're doing it together.
To surprise you.
Yeah, to surprise you. But they're doing it together.
They're united.
They're united. So what do we do as a parent? you quell for a minute,
Well, yeah.
right? Then you go,
Together.
What are they up to?
yeah, whatever, yeah, okay, yeah, clean up, right? But you give them a lot, you cut them a lot of slack. Why? Because they're united. Right? So, in the exact same way, all we want is our kids to be happy and united, right? Not to go ahead, not to be busy fighting with each other, right? That's at the bottom line, right? At the end of the day, that's really what we need to do,
Yeah.
right? Right? We need to get to a place of where we're all united,
Unite.
right? And that's right.
So first the Jews have to unite, then the world has to unite.
Right, but that's what we need to do.
That's what God wants.
Now, yeah, that's what He wants: unity. And what is it? What it be? And I'll tell you, what does it mean to be united?
What does it mean to respect one another,
To respect one another.
So these people actually,
not to kill each other.
No,
these
no.
people are actually united.
To be united is not to respect, is to have the same plan.
Common plans, goals.
So I could dislike you and not trust you, but we're out to get Peter, so we're united.
Yeah, okay, that's one way,
Yeah.
right?
But these people were united in their goal.
Right.
Yeah, they were united in building this tall tower. They were going to build Sears Tower.
They built a city.
Right. And they were building it to fight God,
Yeah, he's a force.
right? And so, what does God do?
Still don't get where they were.
Changes their plan.
He changes their plan. Right. So God says, "Okay, I'm going to disperse them. I'm going to scatter them
And the languages. All kind
and
of
change the languages and create 70 languages."
So the thing they were afraid of is what they got.
Yeah, they were afraid of being dispersed. And I'll tell you, there's a beautiful Kli. I think it's a Kliyakar on here. It's actually interesting. I love my daughter. Actually had this as a project in school to do a report on this. So she asked me to study it with her. So I got a chance to study with her. So I think it's a Kliyakar. And the Kliyakar has an unbelievable insight into this. He said, "What did the people want? People wanted to be united, right? They wanted to live together. So God says, if you want to live together, there's no way that the whole world can agree to live together. So what I'm going to do is I'll scatter you all over the world, and that way then you can live in harmony."
That doesn't make sense.
Why not?
How can they live in harmony if their languages are
Because
all
we're so
different?
far apart that we're not going to bother you. Does what somebody does in Indonesia bother you?
Sometimes if I see it on the news.
If you again, right? But if you don't see it,
they had a terrible.
if you don't see it,
and tsunami.
if you don't see it,
You don't know it.
you don't know it.
But today
So
we
that's
see
you.
it-
That's
we
it.
see
That's it. You
everything.
want to live. You want to live in harmony, right? To be separate.
But we feel the pain today because we see the whole.
Yeah,
world.
no, right. So today is very interesting.
I get along much better with my family when I don't see them.
Right? Sure. We all do that.
Yeah.
Right? They could come visit, for like a couple hours, and then they could leave.
Yeah.
Right? Right? My in-laws are coming in tomorrow. No.
They're figurative as people.
In theory, right? For other people, I love my in-laws. Well, they gave me my wife. Right? Right? So, right? So it. I took her. Okay, no. Right? But that's what it is, right? It's fascinating. Right? They wanted to live in harmony. Right? That was what they wanted to do.
They want to be united. They want to.
Right? They wanted to stay
This
united.
project was all.
So God said, "You want to be united? Okay, I'll split you up." So now you want to have to fight with each other. Yeah.
How did they figure out that every 1656 years there will be a flood?
That's stupid.
I'll tell you, the scientists of the time put on white coats and said, "We've done the research, and in 1656, this is what happened. So another 1656 is going to happen
Another
again."
1656 years will happen again because that's how
It did happen
scientists
again?
think.
Hmm?
It did happen again?
Nope.
Everybody thinks scientists discover things without any
It's
prejudice. But they don't.
it's
They're
amazing.
full of prejudice.
Okay, so good. It's good. So right, let's make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed across the whole earth.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So verse number 5. You go ahead. Yeah.
Hashem descended to look at the city and tower which the sons of man built. And Hashem said, Behold, they are one people with one language for all, and this they begin to do.
And this they begin to do. Right? Means they give them the blessing of one language, right? Of one people and one language. I give them the power of unity, And what could they have done with the power of unity?
A lot of good.
A lot of good. And yet, what did they do?
They're working against.
They're working against. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Right? Means that it's amazing. And we have to be careful of this also, that all the tools that God gives us, we have to make sure that we use them for the right purpose. Because then God will ask us the same question. I gave you all this, and this is what you did with it? Right? Very fascinating.
You know, the thing about this tower
Yeah.
is it has no earthly purpose. They just want to
Right.
defeat God.
Right? Amazing.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that amazing?
It's not like they're building it to serve each other.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
And now, should it not be withheld from them all they propose to do? Come, let us descend and there confuse their language, that they should not understand one another's language. Now, can I just ask a quick question? Why is he speaking, come, let us descend?
Oh, so who's God talking to?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Angels.
Hmm?
The angels, he wants them to buy in like he did with...
They're very good, right? It's angels, right? The same angels, right? Come, let us make man. Come, let us disperse man, right?
And Hashem dispersed them from there over the face of the whole earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it was called Babel.
Okay, one second. Okay, so now it's very fascinating. Okay, go ahead. Because then Hashem confused the language of the earth, and from there Hashem scattered them over the face of the earth. So it's very interesting because, right, the Talmud says, right, that Hashem scattered them from there, right, in verse number 8, right, and they scattered them from there means from this world, and then from there in verse number 9, and from there Hashem scattered them, right, means that He then kicked them out from the world to come.
They don't get a share in the world to come?
Yep.
All of them?
All of them. They lost their share in the world to come.
Our ancestors all lost their share in the world to come.
Yep.
That's
Questions, many questions.
Right?
Many questions.
Right. Hashem, right? They lost their share in this world, they lost their share in the world to come. Now, by the way, does it tell us how Hashem scattered them over the earth?
What's that?
Does it tell how Hashem scattered them over the earth?
No.
So first what He did was like this. Somebody said, pass me a hammer. But then He said it in his language. Meanwhile, the other guy, in hammer meant bricks. He passed him the brick. He said, no, a hammer. He said, no, brick, hammer, brick, hammer. The guy takes that and throws it on his head, kills him, and then the next person, right? So they they couldn't work together.
Rabbi, I can relate to that because when we came here, a cookie and a biscuit had two different
these are first world problems. Right? And so what happened was Hashem goes ahead, right? And then it says Hashem scatters them. How He scatters them? Doesn't say.
It's not really relevant.
It's not relevant. I always kind of think like, you ever seen like, you ever have like anthill with ants crawling up, and then you go, and you blow them up and you scatter them all over the place. So it says Hashem scattered them. Right? People want to know how did the Indians get to America, and how did everyone get to where they were? It says Hashem scattered them. Right? Hashem got them, scattered them all over.
Small portion of group, they took it that different direction, and then they get lost. They don't know where, they find themselves somewhere, and then they start building,
So Hashem scattered them all over the earth. And Hashem went and he goes and he scatters them all over the face of the earth. Yeah.
They lost their share in the world to come.
Yeah.
You have said more than one time that you feel everybody here is a retread.
Right.
They could have come back and then...
By the way, retread comes from the idea, that's what the word retire means. Man, when somebody retires, right, you put on new tires to do something else. But make sure the new tires you put on now are the ones that you really need to. But go ahead. Okay, sorry.
So what does
they could have come back and then earned on the second or fifth go round. They could have earned their share in the world.
I think if somebody loses a share in the world to come, I'm not sure they come back again.
But you said all of us are retreads.
Right.
But we all
That
came from
doesn't
them,
mean
so
we
they
lost
must
our
have
share
come
in
back.
a
No,
prime
no,
right.
no, no. Doesn't mean we forfeited our share. It just means we didn't earn what we should have gotten.
Is there antics with semantics here?
No. Because there's one idea of not doing enough to get where you need to go.
Okay.
There's another one of throwing it all away and saying this is not me.
Okay.
Okay, right, and that's when they threw out their share in the world to come.
And so people who threw out their share don't come back.
I think so, but I think so.
And people who earn their share don't come back.
Correct.
People who want
So
Who earn their share? Who make it?
So we're a bunch of losers.
Correct.
Okay.
Welcome to the loser club.
But you get a
But
second chance.
we're back
We
here
have
now.
a chance.
Okay, but this time, don't blow it.
All right.
Get it right.
All right.
Listen to your wife, the rabbi. Okay, right? Right?
people who earn their share don't come back.
Right.
Remember, because once you get there, then you're there. You don't want to come back. Why are you coming back?
Or earn their share.
Right.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, so basically they made a tower that
Yeah.
they went to fight the god.
right?
God somehow scattered them.
Yes.
Either by punch into the tower.
Who knows? Man, it says God scatters them. It doesn't tell us how.
and then-
You know why does it tell us how?
Doesn't matter.
Not important. Who cares?
Who cares,
Right.
really?
Let the scientists work on that. That's good for them.
Scattered, that's what it
Right?
So it's just something
But
doesn't
I'd
make
like
sense.
to know why a Chinese is Chinese and I am here.
Ooh. Because there's 70 nations that God made. He put some in
He
China.
scattered 70 nations.
Yeah.
He didn't scatter.
That's where the 70 nations come from.
And how many nations are there today?
There are 216 nations, I think. I think 216.
No,
206
But there's only
206.
70 ethnicity.
I think only
192 in the UN.
in the UN, right?
And there are 204.
Okay, I thought
206.
260.
But you
Okay.
know what I think about? I think they actually fought God and they said that they're not getting any, but they just scattered around.
All right.
It doesn't
Yes.
make sense.
Yeah.
Right? You know, here we're supposed to be biologically descendant from these people who didn't quite make it.
We are.
Right?
Well, we're
But then
descended from
spiritually,
another.
we're not descended from them. Because
Actually, we are not. We are all descended from Abraham. And Abraham was not involved in this mission.
Oh, but Abraham lived at that time.
Yeah, Abraham was 48 years
So we
old
all
at this
came
point in
from
time.
Abraham.
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness, that's why we're righteous.
Except Frankie, he's from Nimrod.
Oh, he's not.
Yeah.
He laid claim. That right? He said that's him. He said it.
It's recorded.
And I tell you, it's on tape. We could go back. Not my words. You better be careful what you say. It's being recorded. You better watch what you wish for.
Yeah, but how you say we are? What is it different? Okay, the same.
Frankie, one second.
One second. Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
in the middle of the story. So Hashem never punished them. He could have burned them out. He could have given a flood. Instead, he just burned them out.
Yeah.
That's punishment.
That's a punishment.
That's severe punishment.
Severe punishment.
Well, it's not. He's giving them what they wanted. They wanted not to fight. He said, "Okay, we'll scatter you over the earth. We'll give you your own little place.
If there weren't
You'd have
That's
yourself
not
to
what
fight
they
with."
wanted.
That's
It's
it.
exactly what they did not want.
No,
They were united, remember?
They were united.
United.
Least we dispense across the earth. That's what they did not want. And he gave them what they did not want.
That was
That
scattering
was a
them.
punishment.
But
That
Yes.
was the punishment.
right, because they wanted to make them a name for them. They wanted to get to a place, right, where they would be able to live in a common purpose.
Let's make a name for ourselves. Least we not be dispersed.
Right, but they started off the whole earth was of one language and of common
Right,
purpose.
right.
And how do you make a name for yourself? How does it stop you from being dispersed? Right. So that's the thing. So God said you want to have a common purpose. All people living together. It's hard to get everyone united around something. We'll give you little groups around. We'll spread you around,
And then you can make war with each other.
or not. It's your choice.
Yeah. Then you have-
What is fascinating? What punishment is the worst punishment ever meted out in the Torah?
What is the worst punishment ever meted out in the Torah?
Yeah.
I think this is it.
Why?
Because this is how nations were created.
And you should know, nationalism. This is where nationalism started. Right? Nationalism has plagued man. Right? For the last 3,800 and 3,700 84 years, 83 years.
It's a long time.
It's a long time. Right?
So Mashiach
Right, that's right, when the year 5779, right, minus 1996, right, is 3,779 plus 4. 3,783 years ago. Right, since and the plague of nationalism really has been the bane of mankind. Right, something that we as mankind have suffered throughout the course of the years.
So you think in the time of Mashiach, the only language that man will speak will be Hebrew?
No. We have some of the language now.
So we're going to have to all still keep learning each other's languages.
What do you mean?
I mean, you know, if there's...
No. You have to keep on
Mashiach
learning.
is going to unite the world.
Right.
So what better way to unite the world than to make Hebrew the world language?
Google Translate. We don't need it.
Rabbi.
Right. That what happened is you have to learn Torah.
Yeah, we're learning Torah now.
Right? No. That's all your job.
So
Don't
what
worry.
are we doing here?
Learning Torah.
What?
Yeah, okay, good. That's all. Don't worry. When Mashiach comes, you can continue learning Torah.
Rabbi,
That's good. Yeah.
How Noah is related to Abraham?
Noach.
How?
Noach was his great grandfather.
And he was alive at the time of Nimrod.
Sure.
So what happened to Noah?
Nimrod was the guy who chased after Abraham and tried and threw Abraham into a fire.
Yeah, but what happened to Noah at this point?
Noach.
Noach lived.
Noach is sitting there watching his children make a tuchas out of themselves and pretty unhappy.
He's completely out of the picture.
Noach,
No, he's
he's
sitting
around,
there.
but he's not running the world.
He's sitting there going like
It's
this.
just a standard. It's just a normal.
He said, why don't you guys listen to me? Right, again and again and again and again.
Haven't you learned anything?
Right? Why haven't you learned your lessons yet?
So if Abraham was a great grandfather of Noah, and then Noah.
Noach was a great grandfather of Abraham.
Oh, okay. Noah was great.
So many greats.
So many great father of Abraham, right?
Right.
Okay, so how Nimrod was chasing Abraham? How come he was chasing Abraham to throw him in the fire?
Because Abraham. Well, hold on. You really have to wait to the beginning of your 2-page, your 1 page ahead of us.
No.
We have to get to the end of chapter 11.
That's 3 more weeks from now.
Right. No, but that's what there are 10 generations from Adam to Noach. There are 10 generations from Noach till Abraham. You see what Abraham came and why he was such a danger to Nimrod. Because Nimrod, who did the world serve? Who did the world worship? Nimrod.
Nimrod served
Right?
idols.
Right? Nimrod served, and idols are just your ego projecting onto something else. Like the Talmud says, the only reason people made idols was so that to permit themselves sexual immorality. Right? The God told me to do it. It's not me, it's God. God told me to do it. Right? And they project their own desires onto the idol, and that was it.
I'm sorry. Go back again. So they made a statue.
Yeah.
To have a relationship with him.
No, and then they said whatever they wanted to do. They just said the statue said this is the rules.
So they changed the rules of humankind.
I mean, they made their own rules. What we call idolatry. That's what idolatry is. Right? So Nimrod had a nice gig going. And all of a sudden this guy shows up, Abraham,
Says you're wrong.
my great grandfather. What did he say?
You're wrong.
Wow, that's not
There's
good.
one
Right?
God.
There's one God and he makes the rules, not us. So what does Nimrod say? He's trying to upend the power structure. Trying to upend the power structure. Okay, we'll see who's stronger. And we'll get to the story. It's an amazing story what happens. And that's what Nimrod does. You see, what happens is, it's interesting. Parshas Noach, it starts with the flood and really ends with the Tower of Babel. And it kind of just tinkers a drop with Abraham. Right? So you have flood, right? Starting, beginning flood. Then you have Tower of Babel. And then you have Abraham. And the Talmud says there are 10 generations from Adam to Noach. and 10 generations from Noach till Abraham. And they said an amazing insight. This is something that's really, it was worth waking up today to hear this. And tomorrow, by the way. When was man looked at themselves? A man said, on one hand, I'm physical. On the other hand, I have a spiritual essence. So am I physical? Is my purpose physical? Or is my purpose spiritual? Angels are spiritual. Animals only physical. We're a mixture of both. What are we? Man said, well, I live in a physical world, right? It's all physical around me. It must be physical. And for 10 generations, the world focused on the physicality of the world. And for 10 generations, the physicality of the world, it was all about physical things. And we destroyed the 10 physical levels of the world. Till we came to the flood, and then we had destroyed the world. After the flood, people said, I guess we got that wrong. We're not physical, we're spiritual beings. And the next 10 generations focused on spirituality. Okay? And that ended in the Tower of Babel. Along comes Abraham. And Abraham says, you're making a mistake. You're neither physical or spiritual. You're a combination of both. Your job is to take the physical and infuse it with spirituality. And that's what Judaism is. Judaism is this taking the physical and infusing it with spirituality, infusing it with godliness. It's taking a glass of water, make a blessing on a glass of water, you drink it, what did you do? You've taken something physical and you've made it spiritual. You've infused it with spirituality. Right? That's what you've done. Right? You've gone ahead.
Otherwise, you're just stealing from God.
The world is made a physical world, and our job is to elevate this physical world and elevate it with spirituality. That's our job.
That's why we pray.
That's why when we pray, what are we doing? We're taking the physical, we're infusing with spirituality. And everything we do, right? Our job is to take the physical world and make it spiritual. Where we go, how we act, what we do, it's all about taking the physical world and infusing it with spirituality.
So when we put tefillin on, our left arm is supposed to be symbolic of receiving. So when we do that, we're strapping our ego in place.
Okay.
That's what that's all about, according to Zohar.
Mm-hmm. Because what are we doing? It's interesting. We put the tefillin, we put one on the head, and one on our arm, right? Why? Because what happens is you want to say that our thoughts should be directed towards God, and our actions should be focused on God.
Why don't women have to do it? That's why I always wondered.
Because they already got it covered. It's the men that have a problem with it.
Men have a problem with ego. Women don't have egos.
Not like men.
Not like men, but not
no.
Men have big egos.
Right.
So, am I understanding correctly? We are a combination of our body and our spirit.
Yes.
It's not, the body is not just a vessel in which the spirit resides.
It does, but our job is to take our physical body and to elevate it to make it spiritual.
So the spirit shines.
So how do we make our hands physical?
Physical, they are to start with.
How do we infuse it with spirituality?
Bekala.
What?
Bekala.
Bekala. Use it for mitzvahs. Right? Do mitzvahs with their hands. Right? How do we make our feet spiritual?
Walk to shul.
Walk to shul, right? Walk to do mitzvahs. How do we make our eyes spiritual?
Reading Torah.
Read Torah.
In the world.
Let's see beauty and let's see godliness in the world. Right? Everything we have, then our job is to take it and to infuse it with spirituality. Right, you following? Right, to take it and infuse it with spirituality. That's our job. Right, and if we're able to take the physical world and infuse it with spirituality, so then we've accomplished what God wants us to do. We have to make sure to do that. Right? We have to make sure that we're able to do that. How do we go about by doing that? Right? Those are the commandments that we get a chance to do that. Right? That's our job. Right? Make it holy. And infuse it with holiness. Right? And Nimrod wanted to take this whole thing and to use it to rebel against God. And use it as a way to not serve God.
So after the story, Nimrod still kept Babel. He was still a king, and there were 70 more nations around him. Is that what happened to him?
Yeah, they got scattered around.
Different languages, different looks, and everything else.
Yeah, well, right, and different looks began to evolve. Right?
Was Nimrod still ruling the world?
At that point in time, no, they became scattered around. He did.
Yeah, but he
Everybody
still
had their own
ruled.
kingdom, though.
He
So.
still ruled in Babylon.
Still ruled in Babylon.
Yeah.
Does the Bible say that he has Nimrod has other has children?
Sure.
Yeah.
Probably had lots.
I'm gonna go to
Probably had lots of different wives.
What is the program that I'm gonna trace the how close I am?
All right. Don't worry about. You don't want to be close to Nimrod. That's not who you want to be.
Send your DNA for check.
Check his
Right? Remember that. That's what it is.
Ancestry.com doesn't go back.
Yeah.
And then, so
No,
God,
it does.
God punished them. He scattered them around. You said that
Sure, I want to know.
they lost their chance to go to heaven.
Yeah.
Okay, so
They
if
forfeited their right in the share in the world to come.
So where did they come from?
Where did who come from?
Us.
That they lost their share.
We came from Abraham.
No. He's
We came
asking
from-
you for a citation, Rabbi. Where does it say? In
Oh,
the
where does it
Talmud?
say it?
In the Talmud.
You want to know the Talmud where it says it?
Yes.
No, what I want to know is that
Talmud says it. 1 second. Sanhedrin.
Aha.
Tractate Sanhedrin.
Tractate Sanhedrin.
Tractate Sanhedrin. I'll tell you which page. Hang on a second.
Yeah, give me a page.
You hold on 1 second.
So
You can't read this
now
print.
that's your answer.
38B.
38B. Okay.
Oh, no, excuse me. I take that back. 107B.
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 Now that's the answer to your question.
Must be that one.
You can't go further than that. This is the authority.
Right? Right? Tractate 107B is where it is.
You're a Jew, you have to accept this as the authority. You can't question.
Alrighty. Good. Okay. So it goes ahead, right? And it was there that Hashem confused language of the whole earth, and there Hashem scattered them over the face of the whole earth, gave them the curse of nationalism, the worst curse, right? That it is, right? That has come to the world.
can I just say one more thing?
Get one more thing.
This story is so good,
Yeah.
so true, that we can see the confusion right now.
Sure. You take a look. I mean, you just take a look. World War I, right? Nationalism. World War II. Nationalism. You just go down. It's all
Now they're
nationalism.
talking about World War III and the Civil War in America.
Right? It's a nationalism. It's amazing.
Invasion of Europe.
Right?
Nationalism.
Alrighty.
War.
Verse number 10. Kenny, you want to read?
On 51?
51. Top page 51.
These are the
We
same-
turned the page today. I wanted to keep yourselves around the
Whoa.
applause.
These are the
Oh.
descendants of Shem. Shem was 100 years old when he begot Aprakshad, 2 years after the flood.
Right, so Shem was 98 when the flood happened. Go ahead.
And Shem lived 500 years after begetting Aprakshad, and he begot sons and daughters.
Okay.
Aprakshad lived 35 years when he begot Shelah, and Aprakshad lived 403 years after begetting Shelah, and he begot sons and daughters. Shelah lived 30 years when he begot Eber, and Shelah lived 403 years after begetting Eber, and he begot sons and
Now,
daughters.
this Aver, by the way. Remember, Shem and Aver is right. These yeshiva,
Yeah,
right? So
first
just right. So that's right. So this is the Aver, and Shem is the one in verse number 10. Go ahead.
Eber lived 34 years when he got Peleg, and Eber lived 430 years after begetting Peleg, and he begot sons and daughters. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he begot Reu, and Peleg lived 209 years after begetting Reu, and he begot sons and daughters. When Reu had lived 32 years, he begot Serug, and Reu lived 207 years after begetting Serug, and he begot sons and daughters.
You have to keep on having the years getting shorter and shorter, right? The lifetime.
When Serug lived 30 years, he begot Nahor, and Serug lived 200 years after begetting Nahor, and he begot sons and daughters. When Nahor had lived 29 years, he begot Terah, and Terah lived 119 years.
And Nachor.
And Nahor lived 119 years after begetting Terah, and he begot sons and daughters. When Terah had lived 70 years, he begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran.
Okay.
Now we get to the good part.
Right, okay, right. So now, right, and so again, right, the Torah really just kind of takes one page, just covers another, kind of just jumps right through the history, right? It's going back right from the flood, right? We cover 340 years, right? We just cover them in a half a page.
Why? It's not a history book. Does it matter?
No, this does matter.
This matters. Why?
Because
it is.
No. Why?
Because it recognizes the fact that
shorter
everyone
life
came from.
Okay.
Everyone came from Adam.
Okay, shorter life expectancy. Everyone comes from Nachar, and more importantly, these are there are 10 generations. To tell you that there were 10, right? Remember that there were 10 the 10 physical levels were destroyed by the first 10 generations. The 10 physical levels, and now the 10 spiritual levels are being destroyed. Man, they're going to be, and the world is destroyed. And the world's about to abort world button. And except, if we keep reading another line, there might be just one, there's a big if, because one man shows up. Okay, go ahead.
Now these are the Chronicles of Terah.
Wait there, one second. Okay, go ahead.
Begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran begot Lot. Haran died in the lifetime of Terah, his father, in his native land in Ur-Kasdim.
Ur-Kasdim. Okay.
And Avram and Nahor took themselves wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of 2 of the pages.
That's the same, our grandfather Abraham, who became Abraham.
Yeah, this is him. This is him. Daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Iscah.
Yeah. I'm having trouble turning the page, sorry. There we go.
That's where my name comes from. Abraham Moshe.
The daughter of Haran.
Now that's who you want to be related to.
And the father of Iscah. And Sarai was barren, she had no child. Terah took his son Abram, and Lot, the son of Haran, his grandson, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, the wife of Abram and his son, and they departed with him from Ur-Kasdim to go to the land of Canaan. They arrived in Haran and they settled there. The days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran.
Okay, fine. So now, let's go back to okay, now we're going to go to right here. We just read through the first 2 tests that Abraham went through. See, Abraham's going to come back, and he's going to reestablish the world, save the world. Okay, right? The world was destroyed, and Abraham now is going to stand up and take responsibility for the world. Abraham's father, what was Abraham's father? Terach. Was Terach, what type of guy was Terach?
Not such a nice guy.
Idolater.
Yeah.
He was an idolater.
Yeah.
He actually owned an idol store.
He sold idols.
He sold idols. Right? He was like a modern day psychologist, right? You come to him with the problem, he gave you a pill to fix it. He says, you have to buy this idol. You don't have enough money? Oh, well, here's the money idol. Right? You don't have enough love? Here's the love idol. Right? Whatever, he'd sell you another idol. And he has a son. He has 3 sons. Avram, right? Avram, Nachor, right? And Haran. So how does Avram figure out that there's a God? Figure out that there's a God.
He didn't figure it out.
He knew that something that cannot move, that
He
cannot
didn't
talk,
figure it
and
out.
anything, cannot create anything.
He didn't figure it out.
He didn't figure it out?
He knew there was a God
How?
from the moment that he was born.
No,
How?
I think
Did
through
he break an idol?
Sarah.
But before he broke the idol, he had to figure out that it wasn't.
Okay.
Wasn't it through Sarah?
I think it's the
She
wife,
didn't have any
Sarai.
children.
Sarai.
It's all right.
She didn't tell him.
Sarai.
No,
She didn't tell him these idols are not.
no.
I think he just looked at the idols and realized that they don't do anything.
So let me ask you a question. Do you really think that people are so stupid they just bow down to a piece of metal?
Yes.
Yes.
You know, okay, you got to give the people a little smarter than that. Okay, right? But so they said
A
that
little smart. They just built the Tower of Babel.
it takes ingenuity. And they weren't stupid people. They might have done stupid things.
Mark, they had to be pretty smart engineers.
Yeah. So Abraham looks at the world and says, well, where does the world come from? Who keeps the world going?
Is this Abraham thing?
It's Abraham.
Abraham.
Avram. And not Avraham, but Avram. Right? Is the world, right? Is the world moving, the world going? Like, what's going on? Where does the world come from?
He looks at the clockwork of the world and
He
he realizes
recognizes,
something
he recognizes
very,
it
very
has to
big
come
had
from
to
a
make it.
divine
Right? There's got to be a prime mover.
Yeah.
And it's not a stone.
Right? Right? Well, who created the stone? It does be something before.
You know, he's the first person that has revolutionized the world, because if we had continued without Abraham, we'd be nothing but savages until today.
Oh, sure. I mean, Judaism,
Not far from it.
the world's going back pretty fast. Right? So,
How did he know there was God? How did he?
so what happened was, right? He understood, right, he understood that there had to be, right, there had to be something greater.
So would it be correct to say that God allowed him to understand that?
Yes.
So it's like
So there was a
David Hume.
purpose for this.
Well, he was able to figure it out, right? He was able to come back and understand that God, right, that there must be a God in the
So
world.
there was a purpose for his existence.
So-
For his existence, right? And now, if there's a God, he created me, then I must have a reason why he created me. What's my
And
purpose?
God wanted to be
Right.
sure when he tested him with his son.
Well, okay, so he tested him with the son, with Isaac. We're talking about 10 tests later, and we're talking about over 100 years later.
Well, time
So-
flies.
Time does fly.
His reasoning was similar to David Hume, who said there must be a first cause.
Am I
He
right?
looked at everything, said there's a cause, there's effect.
Right? I mean, even the
And then he
scientists
said,
today
well, there's gotta be a
have
first cause.
finally figured it out, right? He says there's got to be, right? There's a Big Bang. It means the world started from somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that he's a prophet. No.
No, he's not a prophet.
He just figured it out.
He figured it out.
Figure something else too.
He figured it out. God has not talked to him yet. The first time we hear God talking to Abraham is in Parshas Lech Lecha, right, which is going to be next week's Torah portion.
Oh.
Right, it's chapter 12. We're not getting there tonight. Okay, but right, so we're finishing chapter 11. But Abraham had 2 tests that already happened now.
Right. What are they?
God talking to him?
No, God hasn't spoken to him yet.
No.
This is all without God talking to him. So how it goes like this. His father is this idol salesman, and he knows now these idols are a bunch of bull, right?
Yeah, they probably joke
One day
about
his father says, you know, take over the store, I gotta go shopping. And what Abraham does is he takes the nice sledgehammer
it. Yeah.
and smashes all the idols except the biggest idol. Puts a sledgehammer in the hand of the biggest idol. Puts a basket of food in front of the idol. Yeah.
If he did that,
Yeah.
wasn't he afraid?
So hold on. His father walks in. His father said, "What happened? You burned through my inventory." So he goes, well, this lady brought this basket of food. And all the idols started arguing who should get to eat it. So finally, the biggest idol took the hammer and just smashed them all.
And he got the basket of fruit.
And he got the basket of food. So his father said, "But you think I'm an idiot?
His father was.
These idols can't move. They can't talk. What are you doing?" So everyone says, "The idols can't talk. The idols can't move, and you're willing to bow down to them." Now, what happened was the BMC was very unhappy.
Who's that DMC?
BMC,
Campus.
big man on campus,
Oh,
right? Was Nimrod.
No more.
And when that was, Nimrod began chasing after Abraham. Why was Nimrod chasing after Abraham?
because he was anti-idol worship.
Because he's gonna upend the world order. Not good,
He was a
Business.
threat.
right?
He was a threat to him.
It was a threat.
So this was like the 9/11 of that time. when he
Yeah,
broke it.
it was bad things here.
So
And-
his father was the biggest idol worship.
His father was the biggest idol manufacturer, right? This was not a good thing,
Yeah.
right? And so what happened was, right? And so for 13 years, Nimrod is busy trying to chase after and kill Abraham.
13 years?
13 years.
So what was the relation with Abraham's father and Nimrod?
No, so Abraham's father turned them in.
Okay.
And Abraham's on the run. That's test number one.
Okay, so
Which is fascinating. The question is, would you be willing to run away and live in hiding for God?
would I be willing to do that?
Yeah.
So one second.
It
So
doesn't mean he was
broke-
living in hiding from God. It means he was hiding from Nimrod.
Right.
Right.
For why? Because he believed in God and not in
No,
Nimrod's God.
because Nimrod's going to kill him.
Why?
Because he was
Because he
He said, I'm a Jew and there's one God. His name is God. None of these idols.
So if you're a person who stands up
Right?
for
So are you willing to...
gets
Are you willing to go ahead and to be on the run
Abraham was
for
not a
13
Jew that
years?
time then.
Yeah, he's not a Jew yet. He's not a Jew yet.
Right.
We haven't come to the Jews yet.
Yeah.
He's still Avram. He's running away. And for 13 years, he's living on the go. For God. Test number one. Which is fascinating. Right? Because we can ask ourselves that question. Would we, and this is only test number one, my friends. Would we be willing to go on the run for God? That's test number one.
I think everybody in this room is willing to do it.
Test number two. Nimrod finally catches him. And Nimrod goes ahead and gets him, Nachar, and Charan.
And he hasn't yet talked to God.
No, God has not talked to him.
And Nimrod's going to throw him in.
Nimrod says as follows. Gets a big room. And has this big furnace going.
Big furnace.
He says to Abraham, Avram, he says, I want you to bow down to my fire God. Feel the heat. And Avram says, no, I don't worship the fire God. I worship God who's in the heavens. Nimrod says, where's your God? He says, you can't see him. He says,
So he knows God now.
who?
Abraham.
Well, Avram says he knows there's a God. He says, but you can't see him. Why? Because he's not physical. Right? Because once you make God physical, you limit God, and God is limitless.
God
Has no
never
limits.
talked to him.
Right?
God has not talked to him yet.
Right? God has not talked to him yet.
Did he come across upon this concept himself?
Yes.
There's no books.
No. It's interesting. Right? There could have been a couple books, and remember, Noach is alive.
Right.
Right? And Noach believes in God, knows there's a God, right?
Sure.
And he's a prophet.
Right.
So Noach was a terrible salesman. Right?
But also, Tower of Babel was going up to fight God.
Right?
So
Right?
they had to know there was a God.
Right? Okay.
Was there the
No, but that's the Tower of Babel happens later.
Rabbi?
The Tower of Babel is in year 1996. Abraham was born in the year 1948.
Okay.
He's on the run for 13 years. Abraham's probably around 20 years old at this point in time. So we're in year 1968, and the Tower of Babel is still 30 years away.
Okay.
Okay, right. So just don't.
They still haven't built the Tower of Babel.
They haven't built it yet.
Yeah,
Okay, now has he
The
gone-
timeline.
timeline is hard to
My timeline's a little bit hard to follow because this story really happens before, but this really is the preamble to Abraham, which is Parshas Lech Lecha. So the Torah doesn't want to get you confused.
Okay,
So-
Right.
right?
So you
there
can
was
teach
the
what-
yeshiva Shemin Eber.
Yeah,
Did he go to the yeshiva to learn?
could be.
So maybe he had some hints.
And so what happens is Nimrod says as follows. Nimrod says, Mal Avram, we're going to give you a choice. You're non-seeing God. You could serve him, or you could worship my fire God. If you bow down to my fire God, then life is good and I'll let you live. If you don't bow down to my fire God, I will throw you into the furnace.
Right.
And we'll see if your God saves you. So Avram says, listen, Mr. Nimrod, whether God saves me or not, that's his prerogative. But it doesn't, if just because I get burnt doesn't mean there's no God. Right? So then he turns to Avram's two brothers, Nachar and Haran, and says, what about you guys? Where are you in this picture? So Nachar says, you know, Nimrod, that's such a convincing argument. I'm with you. Where do you want me to bow down? Bows down to the fire god and walks away. Haran says, you know what? I need to think about that. And what happens is, Nimrod says, okay, no problem. Guards, take Avram, throw him into the furnace. They pick up Avram and they tie him up and they throw him into the furnace. Dun, 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 dun. Come back next week. Same bat time. No, okay. Okay. As the saw's about to cut Batman in half, what's going to happen? You know the ending, right? We're here.
Yeah.
So Avram goes ahead. They throw him into the furnace. The ropes burn off his hands. And he starts kind of walking around. Nimrod, you want me to stay in here still longer? Nimrod says, make it fire. Hotter, hotter. Avram says, okay. Nice cool here. Nimrod, you have a blanket. It's getting warm in here. Getting cold in here. And finally, Avram walks out of the fire.
They take him out, he walks out himself.
Walks out himself.
Yeah, it's got a door.
So then Nimrod turns to Haran and says, have you made up your mind yet? Haran said, sure, I'm with him. I'm with Avram. It's okay, chuck him into the fire. They throw Haran into the fire and he burns. He dies.
Because he didn't have the
He had a
He
doubt.
only trusted in God. If God will save me, I trust in you. If you don't save me, God, I don't trust in you.
He had a doubt.
But in that doubts, he said, I'm only willing to trust you. I'm only willing to trust you if if you'll save me. Means I'll only believe in God if you're going to make it good for me. If you're not going to make it good for me, I'm not with you. Right? And that's now. And it's fascinating. Now, why does Haran have to die?
Because he didn't have his conviction.
No, good. But why does the Torah need to tell me this story?
So that you learn.
So I think there's another reason.
Because you have to have sincere belief.
After Avram walks out of the furnace, what did all the people standing in that ballroom say?
They were shocked.
Whoa.
There's a God. We need to stop doing idolatry. We need to start serving the one God that Avram's talking about. So God makes Haran, that Haran has to die So that gives people back their free will.
Haran was a brother
Of Avram.
Yeah.
Right? That people gives the people the free will to choose whether they're going to serve God or they're going to serve the idols.
So the free
Haran
will
was
also
not
play
serving the idol, was it?
in the Abraham side first, right?
No. So that put it back into equilibrium.
Right.
Haran was not serving the idol.
No, he wasn't. But he wasn't serving God for the right reasons.
So his
And if you
will-
want God to do a miracle for you,
you have to be steadfast.
right? You can't kind of like be a
Expect one.
you have to
You can't be wishy-washy.
you gotta be wishy-washy. You gotta go ahead. You gotta do it for the right things, for the right reasons, right?
Yes.
And that's what takes place. That's how that goes down, right? And that's why
I don't think
Haran
it was
dies.
fair for Haran. I think it was fair because what could he have said?
Why didn't he say I'm with Avram at the beginning?
He only became a
So when
believer.
Avram went in,
He only became a believer once he saw Avram walking out.
Okay,
He
so
figured
they
that
should
he's
have
gonna
gone
get
with
the
A fine, I would call him a fair weather friend.
Yeah.
What if they both went in together? Then what would have
They
happened?
both would have been saved.
Yeah.
And Haran would become another Abraham.
Yep,
So it would have been two Abrahams.
yep.
Wow, we missed the boat.
No, it's not. Maybe I'm going to come to later, right? And so there we go ahead, and this now is the precursor. But that Sarai, right? She was barren. She had no children. It means that she was barren. She didn't even have the capability of having children. She was missing some pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is how, and then it's interesting because Terach,
Or she had endometriosis.
right, Terach took his son Avram and Lot, the son of Haran, his grandson and his daughter-in-law Sarah, the wife of Avram, his son, and they parted them from more customs. So Terach, right, finally gets with the program. And Terach leaves with Avram.
Can I just interrupt for 1 second?
Sure.
Is Haran this brother and a place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's Haran with the hay and Haran with the hay.
Right. Right. It's really right.
Okay.
Man, Haran's a brother. Haran is a place.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the first time that God is revealing Himself into the world,
No. A flood.
the flood.
Noach.
But
Adam and Eve.
I mean, Adam.
Adam and Eve.
But this is the first time that people are seeing a miracle and they're actually believing God.
No, they saw the miracle.
Noach.
Plenty of
Noach and his
miracles
sons.
up till then.
That's it. Noach has a miracle.
No. So what happened was. So this is really how idolatry starts. People say these two gods are fighting, the good God, the bad God, and right, this one's in charge, this one's in charge, right? Like it's like all sorts of different things, right?
But this hasn't stopped. Adultery hasn't stopped. It still happened until today.
What hasn't?
The
Idolatry.
Sure, more people have free will. We'll get to that. So this is the precursor to Avram, right? So Avram now has been right. Nimrod is on the run. He's got to get out of Dodge. Terach takes him, and off they go. They go towards the land of Kasdim, and they come to Haran, and that's where they live. Now it's interesting, right? From the Ur Kasdim, right? From the Ur Kasdim means from the fire of the Kasdian, right? And that fire was this fire that we're talking about.
Is that the same fire in the book of Daniel with the Hebrew boys, Daniel, Abednego, and they threw them in the fire and the
It's the same concept.
concept,
Yeah. Alrighty, everyone, have a wonderful evening. I'm going to stop it. Don't forget the new Breakneck through the Bible is starting tomorrow night at 7:30 right here. Be here, be square. Bring your friends. Make sure that you come and you come in to bring them. And we will see you all same bad station, same bad time next Monday.
When you were neighbors.